Greetings, and welcome back to LA Quill. Today we're going to talk about one of the least glamorous parts of writing, yet one of the most important: editing your manuscript. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I already wrote the book. Surely the hardest part is over. If only. Finishing that first draft is a little like forging a legendary sword. Right now you've got a glowing lump of enchanted metal. It's technically a sword-shaped object. Technically, but I wouldn't recommend taking it into battle just yet. Today we're going to walk through the editing process step by step, so you can transform that rough draft into something sharp enough to survive the dragons, the critics, and perhaps even your own inner perfectionist. The first step is surprisingly simple. Walk away. Seriously, I'm not kidding about that. Put the manuscript down. Close the document. Resist the urge to peek at chapter 3 because you're just checking one tiny little thing. Don't do it. Okay? Your brain has just spent weeks or months or maybe even years memorizing every sentence. When you reread immediately, your mind helpfully fills in missing words, it ignores awkward phrasing, and it quietly whispers, yes, that's exactly what you meant. Unfortunately, readers don't have your brain acting as an interpreter. They only have what's actually on the page. Giving yourself a little distance lets you come back wearing your reader hat instead of your author hat. Yes, I know waiting is difficult. It's difficult for all of us. Writers have approximately the patience of a squirrel that has just discovered coffee. While your manuscript is resting, though, don't feel guilty. Work on something else. I'm sure you have 1,000 other ideas. Outline another story. Build a fantasy kingdom with far too many rivers. Invent an unnecessarily complicated magic system. Write a short story about goblins opening a bakery. Whatever keeps those creative muscles moving for you. Not only does this keep you productive, but it also prevents you from hovering over your finished draft like an anxious wizard stalking into a crystal ball every 15 minutes and asking, are you ready now? Because the answer is probably not. When you do return to your manuscript eventually, not today, not tomorrow, but in a few weeks, don't start fixing commas. That's like repainting the windows before you've decided whether the castle should have another tower. Begin with the big picture. Does the story actually work? Does the plot make sense from beginning to end? Do your characters have believable goals? Does the ending feel earned? Is the pacing carrying readers along? Or does it occasionally wander into a swamp and decide to build a vacation cottage there and derail everything? These are the questions that matter first, because beautiful sentences cannot rescue a story whose foundation is wobbling like a tavern table with one short leg. This is also where you might encounter one of writing's greatest heartbreaks. Cutting scenes. I hate this. You end up cutting scenes you absolutely love. And every writer has that one scene they're in love with. Maybe it's an incredible conversation. Maybe it's the funniest joke you've ever written. Maybe it's a breathtaking description of an ancient forest illuminated by glowing mushrooms and tiny magical foxes wearing hats. Delightful? Absolutely. Necessary? Maybe not. If that wonderful scene contributes nothing to the story, it may have to go. Think of it less as deleting it forever, and more as sending it into a peaceful retirement village where all the other wonderful but completely unnecessary scenes spend their day reminiscing about the novels they almost starred in. It's not fun, okay? This is the part a lot of writers hate the most. Taking those scenes you love and putting them in a box. Maybe never to be seen again. It's not a good time, but it is a necessary time. Once the structure feels solid, the structure of the story, it's time to zoom in a little closer and examine your scenes individually. Every scene should earn its place. Something should change. A secret is revealed, a decision is made, a conflict escalates, a relationship shifts. If two characters spend 4 pages discussing the weather while sipping tea and absolutely nothing changes by the end, Well, perhaps those pages were written primarily for the benefit of the tea. A useful question to ask is, why is this scene here? If your only answer is because I liked writing it, that's not necessarily enough. Readers expect movement. Even quiet scenes should create emotional momentum. They should deepen character, increase tension, answer a question, or perhaps raise an even bigger one. Stories don't have to sprint constantly, but they should always keep walking towards something at least a little bit interesting. This is also a great time to watch for what I affectionately call floating dialogue syndrome. Two characters are talking, and somehow they've become disembodied voices drifting through the void. We have no idea where they are. No one moves. No one notices the rain. Nobody picks up a mug or glances toward the castle walls or reacts to the nervous horse snorting nearby. Nobody does anything. Readers enjoy dialogue, absolutely, but they also want to feel grounded in the world you've created. Fantasy especially thrives on atmosphere. Let your settings participate in the conversation instead of standing silently in the corner like an unpaid extra. Now we arrive at line editing, where every sentence gets its turn under the magnifying glass. This is where you polish the prose. Look for repeated words. We all have favorites, all of us. Some writers discover that every cave and every forest is mysterious. All your deserts, all your forests, all your landscapes are mysterious. Others learn that everything is ancient. Some apparently believe everyone constantly sighs, smiles, nods, shrugs, and even raises eyebrows. If your characters are raising their eyebrows every 3 paragraphs, eventually they'll all look permanently surprised, so time to tone it back, just a smidge. Sentence rhythm matters too. Read several paragraphs together. If every sentence is roughly the same length, your writing can begin to sound a little bit mechanical. Mixing shorter sentences with longer ones creates a rhythm that keeps readers engaged. Dialogue benefits from this as well. Real conversations aren't perfectly symmetrical. People interrupt, they hesitate, they ramble, they occasionally answer the wrong question because they're thinking about something else entirely. Those little imperfections often make dialogue feel more authentic. After that comes copy editing. This is the technical cleanup crew. Grammar and punctuation and consistency and spelling. Joy. This isn't usually anyone's favorite stage, unless you're the sort of person who genuinely gets excited about semicolons, in which case, I admire your dedication. Keep it up. But fantasy writers also have an extra challenge. We invent names and titles and magical objects and kingdoms and holidays and occasionally entire alphabets, and we don't always pay attention. It's remarkably easy for Queen Elira to become Queen Ilaria halfway through the manuscript without anyone noticing until chapter 27. So keep notes. Write down all the names as you're copy editing. Write them down in a list beside you as you're reading, so that every time that name or that location comes up, you can look at the list and go, ooh, no, how about I fix it? Before you get beyond the stage where there's a bunch of other people looking at it. Okay? So keep your notes. Your future self will thank you. One of the best tricks I know is reading the manuscript aloud. Say it out loud. It's amazing how quickly awkward sentences reveal themselves once your tongue has to wrestle with them, once you have to physically say them. Suddenly you'll discover you've written a sentence containing 6 consecutive words beginning with the letter S, followed by dialogue that no human would ever voluntarily say. If reading aloud isn't practical, let text-to-speech software read it for you. Hearing your own work through another voice can be surprisingly enlightening, and occasionally unintentionally hilarious. Another surprisingly effective trick is simply changing how you view your manuscript. Print it out, or put it on your e-reader, depending on your preferences. Change the font. Our brains get comfortable looking at familiar pages. Altering the presentation is like rearranging the furniture in your living room. Suddenly you notice things that have apparently been sitting there for months. Modern writing tools can help as well. Grammar checkers, readability analysis, style programs, they're all useful assistants. They catch missing words, repeated phrases, and technical issues remarkably well. But remember that they're assistants, not kings issuing royal decrees. Software doesn't understand the emotional payoff of a scene, or why your villain deliberately speaks in an unusual rhythm. If you blindly accept every suggestion, you risk sanding away your own voice. Use these tools as helpful companions, not all-knowing oracles. Finally, we reach the hardest part of all: knowing when to stop editing. There comes a point where you're no longer improving the manuscript, you're simply rearranging the furniture every Tuesday because it gives you something to do. Every published novel contains things its author would probably rewrite given another chance. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is creating the strongest story you can, learning everything you can from the process, and then having the courage to let the book leave the nest. Otherwise, you'll spend the next 15 years changing the same adjective while the sequel patiently waits in another folder, wondering if it's ever going to get its turn. Editing isn't punishment for bad writing. It's the second half of writing well. Every revision strengthens your instincts. Every manuscript teaches you to spot problems just a little earlier. Eventually, you'll begin catching issues while you're drafting because you've trained your creative eye through revision after revision after revision. That's one of the hidden rewards of editing. You're quietly improving every book you'll ever write in the future. And that's our tale from LA Quill today. I'd love to hear which stage of editing you find the most challenging, or whether you've ever had to cut a scene you absolutely loved. Until next time, may your stories always be magical.